6:01, February 15th, 2024, and we're calling Sustainability Committee meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Chairperson Denise Menino.
Here.
Member Dory Larson.
Here.
Member Taylor Mandalou. Member Robin Sanger is absent as well. Member Siobhan Neen is absent, and Member Carol Mickett.
Present.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And we haven't heard from those that are absent?
No.
Correct.
Okay.
And what's the status of, we still need one more alternate? Is Siobhan an alternate?
Yes.
Yeah, Siobhan's an alternate. Wait, no, she filled,
We have, with Siobhan, we have 6.
Is Robin on the committee at this
She
point?
is.
She
Okay.
is a,
Yeah.
So
she's
it's
a,
the
she's
three
a
of us,
member.
Robin and
She's a
Taylor, and then
member.
Siobhan is an alternate.
and Siobhan's an alternate,
Okay.
and we also have an applicant
Oh.
for
The other alternate position.
the other
Great.
alternate position. And
Just one applicant?
yes,
Since it's so cold in here, maybe we can we'll have a very
Short meeting.
brief meeting.
sure.
I think so.
But I really think that it's necessary to remind those that are on the committee, the commitment to communicate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will send an email.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm surprised Robin's not here.
Yeah, I hope she's okay.
Oh, what?
As, has everybody had the opportunity to look at the
What's
minutes?
going on here?
Yes.
Can we? Sorry.
I'm trying to find, oh, I'm under this thing. Right.
And are there any amendments or necessary for the meetings last month, or?
No, I
No.
move to pass them.
Okay, is there a second?
I'd second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Point of order,
Yeah.
are you not allowed to second or make a
I-
motion?
I'm not allowed to make a motion. I don't know whether I'm allowed to vote.
Yes,
Are
you're
you
allowed to vote.
allowed
Okay.
to second things? Is she allowed to?
Shouldn't be.
I
No.
don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, she can
Oh,
pass
yeah.
the gavel and,
I think you're right, because I think that's the purpose of having
Yeah.
3 for a quorum.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So, here we are. Sustainability Action Plan update.
Yes, so you all should have a digital copy of it's green, the green boxes. So those are all of our fiscal year 24 sustainability plan action items. So,
Hold on, let me pull that up.
no problem.
Event list,
It should say, the title is SAC.
got it.
Okay.
Here it is.
I know that's a weird title. It made sense when I did it. So this is just a brief update on where we are internally with these. So and some of them are combined. So if you don't see exactly what you're thinking of, let me know and I will happily clarify. The family-friendly workplace policies, we have a kickoff meeting with our HR department this month, what's already on the schedule. And we are hoping to have, with that meeting, hoping to identify a short list of priority items for that, and hoping to be on schedule to complete that by the summertime.
And what does that mean?
The family-friendly workplace policies, it was a pretty open-ended action item, but it was basically, I think you guys, when you voted on it, I think the purpose, when I went back, the purpose was to help retention, make sure that there are sustainable policies in place, or at least evaluated, because some of these are going to be an evaluation. And so I think it helps with retention of staff. It helps with having sustainable policies and green policies in our workplace policies. I mean, it's like having a PDF application instead of a paper one, like little things like that. And so we're gonna we'll have a short list at some point, I think.
And will you show it to us?
Yes, we've talked with HR about this, so obviously any of our personnel policies, we're going to be working very closely with the HR department. We've got a kickoff meeting scheduled next week to start brainstorming. We've done some preliminary research. We've compiled policy personnel policy manuals and collective bargaining agreements and stuff like that from other municipalities, see what everyone else is doing. And we're probably going to have a very small internal working team on that where we're going to look at, all right, what are all the different things we could look at? Which HR policies would be most beneficial from a sustainability standpoint or a sustainability of a workforce standpoint? Shortlist those. Obviously, HR policies and employee policies are absolutely in the purview of the city manager, so we'll probably be taking a look at what's implementable, working with the city manager, see which things he thinks is a priority, and and once we have a short list, we'll probably be providing an update after that. So, but that's what we're doing right now. We're in the fact-finding mode and prioritization, and one other factor that will be considered will be, ease of implementation. Some things that are like electronic or technology-based might be a little bit more difficult than, say, something as simple as like, updating a policy, like an internal HR policy or something like that, where you just rewrite the policy and sign it, and it's administered directly by city staff without a lot of infrastructure changes, for example. So,
And all of that can be done just with the staff and the city manager. It doesn't have to go to the Board of Commissioners.
not necessarily. Some policies are set by the board, so that's another thing that we'll be considering is who administers different types of policies and what levels of approval are required for implementation.
Hey, Tori?
Yeah, so I've got it pulled up. I think I'm on the right one. It's Action 35, evaluate family-friendly workplace policies for local government employees, including paid family leave, flexible scheduling, teleworking, which I think really ties in with, being able to reduce carbon footprint for the city as well, job sharing, and easily available childcare. Limit contractual services to equal opportunity employers and ensure that all city employees earn a living wage according to applicable standards. So I think it's pretty broad, and
that
it depends
is
on what they
broad,
want to
but-
do.
Well-defined.
But I would definitely support the teleworking.
Yeah, me too.
Noted.
And I was going to save this minor point, or this point for sharing later, but I've been revisiting a book that I loved back when it first came out. I don't know whether anyone is familiar with Riane Eisler's Chalice, The Chalice and the Blade, but she has also written The Wealth of Nations, and I've been listening to a lot of her talks because it's fairly far into many editions and many languages that this book has been published. But she has partnerism website that really are cornerstones for shifting our world in a large way from domination to partnership. And she's really, I would just want to add it right now just because of the emphasis that she's placed on family childhood relations as being kind of the foundation. If we don't prioritize the jobs of mothers and caregivers and just look at the value, the economic value that has been given for free for so many years, in order to, weigh it in as a social necessity. We're missing the point. It's not the way to judge, the success of a society. Anyway,
Well, long ago, when I was a professor of philosophy, I gave a paper about how if there's a family where one of the people work, let's say the male husband works, that the wife, the mother who stays at home, should receive in her name half of the paycheck. So that you have that equity. I remember when my mother used to say, well, your father's so generous, he lets me spend the money. I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know, who says that? You know, but a lot of people think that's his money, not mine. So this was a way of making sure that the mother is valued and acknowledged. So we could do that.
So, yeah, prioritizing this is.
We have absolutely like thought about that, and that's something that like is absolutely like we're paying attention to is
Right.
you know, evaluating like potentially like maternity leave and that sort of
Childcare.
thing, and just the feasibility of that and that sort of thing. So we are absolutely paying attention to all of those items. So
I will say on the paychecks item, if we were to divvy up the paychecks, we might run into some issues with the federal tax code. So,
Fine, but you know, one can be creative. Eventually, that'll all happen. And paternity leave's important.
Absolutely.
so the next action item, we kind of combined the I'm starting to call it the climate mitigation plan, the climate action plan, and the greenhouse gas reduction target. I really wanted to make an informed decision for our greenhouse gas reduction target based on the results of our mitigation plan. So we have identified potentially an organization to handle this for us. We're in procurement, dealing with, you know, all of that, you know, making sure we're going about that the right way. Hopefully here soon we'll be able to like formally announce that like to you all and let you know. But like we're close. We're very close to this. And hoping to have a kickoff this month, and then the schedule that was given to us should be probably by like midsummer is I think when we'll have that completed and ready to show everybody. So we're very excited about that one. That's a big one, and very excited. So, and then the ordinances, we did kind of lump those all together because those all kind of fall under the LDRs. So the invasive species ordinance,
What's LDR?
land development regulation.
Okay. I'm
Um,
never
right?
good at
Okay.
these letters.
Okay, no, that's a pet peeve of Tommy's actually is acronyms. So
I take acronyms out of everything.
I don't get them.
So I've gone through each of these and done research on each individual ordinance. I have model ordinances. I sent an email out to the SSDN about who else has implemented these policies.
Just
and
did it again.
Southeast Sustainability Directors Network.
the only reason that I do that one is because it's a mouthful. I'm sorry. Yes, so the Southeast Sustainability Directors Network, which is a really great resource. It touches like, I think 10 or 15 states in the Southeast. So similar, and most of them are also working for like local municipalities, counties, that sort of thing. So they're able to give a lot of insight. So that was very, very useful. So we have compiled all of that, and as soon as P&Z is ready for us, we are like about ready for that, to have that conversation to facilitate how we're going to kind of move forward with that and how we can implement all that. So that it might get done in the summer. That might be something that's like finished after the fiscal year, but it's something that will like, it won't be, if it's delayed, it's not, it's just like the delay of the completion. All the research has been done, that sort of thing. It's just interdepartmental, you know, timelines that have to mesh. So
This one's the schedule's very much being driven by the comprehensive plan adoption. So later when we talk about agenda items, we're expecting to have a comprehensive plan update from planning and zoning for y'all next month. And but once all the the way this works is you adopt the comprehensive plan, that sets policy, and then over time you develop all the ordinances to implement those policies. So those are the times when a lot of the code and stuff like that are going to be open for revision, and that's the time when we get all those in. But that schedule is broader than just sustainability. There'll be other code updates and things like that. It'll be happening simultaneously.
absolutely.
Dory.
So the comp plan edition is happening through summer, and then the land development codes are following that in the fall and winter.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
yeah.
asking.
So,
I'll take that.
okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, the comp plan, the schedule, they're hoping to have that wrapped up this spring and then start on ordinance adoption this summer. But obviously, everything is contingent upon, board approval of the comp plan and things
Sure.
like that. So, but that's the tentative plan is to is to have the comp plan wrapped up sometime this spring, and then the summer they'll start on land development regulations. And planning is going to be able to give you probably a more nailed down timeline on that, like at their update.
So is our committee going to have an opportunity to weigh in on like some of the recommendations for like the wetlands buffers?
I think we'll have an opportunity for that. We can work that in, and as they're working through potential, revisions to code and stuff like that, we can talk with planning and zoning and see if we can bring you draft code for review or something like that, or like what their plan is for the updates or the results of the evaluations and things.
Yeah,
like
I would love
that.
to see them come share with us what they're cooking.
Yes,
Yeah,
excellent.
And have an
absolutely.
opportunity to weigh in.
Is there a document online that we can start reviewing at all or not?
I don't think that there's anything that's been released yet. I know they had public outreach meetings.
Or even the draft? Is
That'll
there-
be next meeting.
Yeah.
We'll try whatever.
I mean, even before it's published, perhaps, publicly, it would be nice if we could have a chance to look at a draft.
I really don't want to get ahead of the planning and zoning department,
Okay.
So they're working. They will be providing updates on the comprehensive plan, not just to this committee, but to a variety of the advisory committees, and they're managing that outreach campaign. And they are cognizant of making sure that they have engagement from all the different committees that are pertinent. So
I think what you're looking for, you'll find in the next meeting, in the presentation that they give as far as comments and seeing the comp plan beforehand. And that I think theoretically is the time for like comments and feedback and that sort of thing. And you'll have that you should have that in the meeting materials for the next meeting,
Yeah,
so.
I'm just hoping to not have to review it on the fly and have some opportunity to give it some thought in
Okay.
advance, that's all.
Okay,
we'll work with planning and zoning and see if we can get you something with plenty of notice.
I have a question about seawalls. So my neighbor put in a new seawall, and of course it flooded over it. And they were told that they couldn't make it higher, like they wanted to make their new seawall even higher, but they were limited by how high they could make their seawall. Do you know why?
Without knowing the details of that particular case, I couldn't say. There's a variety of different codes and regulations that go into seawall
Yeah,
construction.
you'd think you can make a seawall as high as you want it, but obviously not.
Well, if they're not consistent around the area that the water is, if it's going to be affecting the adjacent properties, probably.
Yeah, but
But,
they,
Yeah,
some have
you don't know.
seawalls, some don't, It's not like there's a consistent wall.
and that exactly might be why. There's almost no point in having a seawall go higher if no one else has a seawall in their vicinity. It doesn't do any good.
Although they do. I mean, my neighbors have a big seawall, we don't have a seawall.
Those regulations are pretty complex. You'll have a combination of local, you'll have state. If it's
I just see
for
their
waters of the United
seawall
States, you'll have Army Corps
ordinance here.
requirements.
So I was curious.
The seawall ordinance, I believe, is action item 14, and that, review and revise the seawall ordinance to require all newly installed or renovated seawalls to meet a minimum height based on current base flood projections, evaluate potential use of living seawalls and city seawall improvements.
But that's minimum height. Not,
We'll have more, I think we'll have more information on like our recommendations for that with the results of the vulnerability assessment.
Yeah, I believe that was when y'all were deep in the discussions. I believe that was mostly focused around sea level rise and reducing vulnerability over time and making sure we have good standards for future sea level rise concerns, so we don't, continue to design things to a standard that's not likely to be applicable in the future as sea level rise occurs.
And that is one of the ordinances. really all of them are, you know, collaborative amongst other city departments as far as implementation, you know, building and development, P&Z, you know, planning and zoning, I'm sorry, are all gonna have some, like, skin in that game, if you will, as far as, like, what's implementable, what's, like, industry standard and that sort of thing. So, like, we'll be able to make recommendations based on current findings. But, you know, like, it has to be implementable, so, and they'll be the experts on that, so. A lot of collaboration within the ordinances category with other city departments, so. Which again is why it might take some time after the comp plan is finalized, so. And then the net zero canopy loss policy, we did have a project kick off with that in January with Shannon, our city arborist. And, you know, I've been doing the research as well and speaking with the municipal arborist at other municipalities locally who have adopted a net zero canopy loss policy. Also places that had a goal to implement one and then didn't implement one and why they didn't, and discuss the barriers with that and that sort of thing, just so we can have a full understanding of what that looks like, so we can have a better understanding. I think the biggest hurdle with this one is to make, you know, an educated and informed policy decision. It's going to require the completion of the tree inventory. I think we're about 30 or 40% complete with that currently. I think they're kicking that off again in the summer, but I can't say for certain. So that's kind of what we'll probably have to wait on for full implementation, is waiting for that tree inventory to be complete, and that sort of thing, so.
Great.
Any other questions on the ordinance, or I'm sorry, the 24 action items?
You said 24 action items?
I'm sorry, yeah, fiscal year 24, I'm sorry, yes.
And this is all the action items we have for the whole year?
There are, they're kind of condensed, but they're 7 total, so they're a little condensed. So the climate action plan is its own action item. The greenhouse gas reduction target is its own item. I combined them because the greenhouse gas reduction target is going to come from the results of the climate mitigation plan. The ordinances are kind of all lumped together because they're a very similar path. You know, they're all kind of on the same track. They're kind of waiting on the same thing. So that's why it looks a little different how I have it formatted here versus in the actual plan. But all the fiscal year 24 items are represented here.
If you'd like, just for clarity and quick reference back to the sustainability plan, we can put the action item numbers in there on future updates so you can more easily go back and forth and see what the original plan said.
I can do that. Okay.
Okay, the Earth Day event update.
Let me just pull up that flyer.
I love the flyer. I was just thinking, okay, what time and where?
And
Yeah, where's not on there?
it's not because we didn't have a location at that point, but
Hasn't been nailed down yet.
we do have that as of today.
Oh.
So it will be at the Heritage Center, and it will be from 5 to 7 on April 19th. And that's a fresh update as of today.
Friday, April 19th.
And what exactly,
You say 5
Is
to 7?
happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
what exactly is happening?
I mean, you guys really wanted like a launch for the
Party.
sustainability plan. Yeah.
Party atmosphere to get people there to hear about the sustainability plan. Are we going to read the plan, or at least
We'll have
tackle some of the major objectives or action
We'll have copies there.
of copies?
And for anyone who attends and wants to have a copy for themselves, that'll be available. The sustainability staff will be there to answer any questions. We are still working to figure out with the attorney about like as far as sunshine with everyone being, the whole committee being there.
Right.
It might just need to be like one representative. But we're working to find an answer to that currently.
Maybe it would make a difference if you mentioned that we aren't voting on anything or discussing anything that we're voting on. I mean,
And we can,
that seems to be the critical sticking point, right?
I think so. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's. I think one thing we probably want to avoid is accidentally making it a sunshine event, because that becomes more complicated. There's less, there's additional, like, you have to do meeting minutes and public noticing and all these other things. So I know we do have events like the thank you events for all the different committees where we come and have dinner and stuff like that. So we'll try our best to create a format, but this kind of does inherently become like a policy discussion. So we're going to work with the attorneys, try and create the most opportunity for the committee to be there as possible. But we've also got to stick with what the attorneys tell us on the sunshine requirements.
So we're going to investigate that fully to see what that looks like.
I have to say that when we had those nibble things, we all showed up. And we did talk about things that, what could we do? And, because people offered suggestions. So I'm just saying, we survived, but it would be good to have clear guidelines about what we can talk about and not.
And that's what we're looking for. We're trying to
Right.
not create a gray area, I guess, or an infringement of any kind. We want to make sure that.
We just have to be in compliance with the sunshine law. So we'll get a legal opinion on
But I
how
mean,
to
the
accommodate
commissioners
that.
always go to these events and talk to each other, and so.
I have every confidence that we can work it out and make
Sure.
it a path forward. I want to say that I love the poster. I think it's super cute
Yes, it is.
and
Very cute.
creative.
Super draft, by the way, though. So
But it's cute. So for publicity, how are we going to make sure that people come and that people know about it?
And so that's actually something that Tommy and I have spent a lot of time talking about because we do want it to be well attended. We want you guys to be very happy with how the event goes, because this is for this is for you. This is to celebrate the work that you guys have done. And so we've talked about having an Eventbrite event so that sometimes people subscribe to like local events in their area. So we'll absolutely do that. We'll have a Facebook sponsored post that we'll actually pay to market, and that'll hit like a certain geographic radius, and we've talked about doing something like a significant push via social media with that. We'll work with I think our rec department is they're the one. Okay, they have the Facebook page, so we'll work with them, make sure that's on there. They have a great social media presence and they have a lot of followers, so I think that'll be a really valuable resource. We do have our sustainability email list as well, so we'll absolutely be sending out blasts for that with the flyer and information and that sort of thing. And then I know that it was mentioned, I think in our pre-meeting, Denise, you mentioned that having past committee members there, and because they were a part of this too, so making sure that they're invited. And then I also had the idea to invite the PSRN network, the Pinellas Sustainability and Resiliency Network, right? Yes, okay. Some acronyms sometimes. But have other local sustainability professionals there. I know that it was brought up in the past meeting to maybe like think about collaborative, multi-jurisdictional events in the future. This might be a good way to kind of build a bridge, maybe. I genuinely don't know if that's possible, but at least like involve them, because a lot of times they are a stakeholder in these sorts of things, because we're all working together towards a common goal. So want to make sure that they're invited. And I can even ask them if they'll send it out to their email listserv, that sort of thing. And obviously all city employees will be invited as well. So we have a fairly solid marketing plan in place for this, we want it to be well attended. And there's going to be hopefully really great food there. Talking with procurement in order to figure out like how we can do that. But we have a couple of options, and I think it'll be really great. It'll be a local establishment. For that, sorry, I thought you were trying to get my attention. So I think we should have. If it's not well attended, it's not because it wasn't well marketed, and there's going to be good food. There's going to be people there to discuss things. We have commitment from other city employees as well who are going to be there to attend and discuss things and that sort of thing. So I think it'll be. I think it will be a great event. So the plan is.
Thank you for all that you've done.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hopefully next time we'll have a bigger update with all more. So
it is, when you look at it, the thing you see is hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to bring people.
That's what I was thinking too.
Secondly, one thing you said is it's to celebrate our accomplishments. And in here it says, meet our citizen-led sustainability committee.
You're the only ones who have seen this.
So if
by
we
the way,
can't come, we're not going to be able to celebrate.
I will.
So
It's editable. This is
what
like.
I mean.
This is my ideal. That would be ideal. I really think.
Yeah.
It would be ideal if you can all come, even if everyone has to stand in separate corners, and there's no interaction or discussion. But if you're there, I really, this is for you, So
That's not a bad idea if we had the presentation, and then if each of us was to kind of be in separate areas of the room so that people could come meet us and talk to us if they had questions, that would be ideal. That way we're not conversing with each other, but we're able to meet the public.
yeah, absolutely.
And it does seem important that there's a program, right?
Like an itinerary.
Yeah, I mean, that there's a presentation, actually, right?
There will be.
There will be?
I wasn't planning on it. I'm sorry. I thought the point was to have a very casual, because we have these very highly formatted meetings here where the public is welcome to come, and I thought the idea was to have a very casual interaction with the public to get buy-in that way, make it an easy, just to have a conversation with somebody about their professional work, what they're doing, what you guys are doing with the sustainability committee and that sort of thing. It's more conversational,
Okay.
more, less of we have a lot of educational events, less of go ahead. I'm sorry. Did you have something to say? I apologize.
No, not about this.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
have some.
Yeah.
So I went to you were there, I think, when we went to the vulnerability,
The vulnerability assessment was in
right.
Public
and it
outreach
was at
meetings,
the-
yes.
The room next to the Heritage, and there wasn't a program. You just went in and you looked at a map, and the guy was there, and we were all like,
There was
What
a
are we
lot of, there was
supposed
a
to-
lot of confusion.
It was
because
like,
people
what are we
really
s-
didn't know
yeah.
what they were doing
what
there,
are we supposed to do here? Look at a map, and that's that. And everyone I talked to really wanted, to sit down and have somebody walk us through what we were supposed to do. Because if you just go and it's like this informal thing, it's like,
Well, that
what's
was
the point?
the public outreach meeting definitely served a completely different purpose. That was to get feedback, and if it was possibly lacking structure, it might be just because I think the consultant put that on, correct?
Yeah, we're aware that those meetings left a little bit to be desired on the vulnerability workshops. We did roughly the same amount of community engagement that we've done for other types of workshops, and sometimes lots of folks show up, and sometimes folks don't. We're going to do a little bit of a different format for as Jordan was saying, for marketing this one. So we think we'll get more people in. It's more of a community type event, but we'll take that into we'll take your comments. We'll try and put something together that we can have like an educational opportunity, but have it be casual so people can come and go as well, and definitely try and create a framework. We can learn about the plan and the action items and what the city's doing.
People may just want to know, what is the sustainability plan? You
Sure.
know, why have it? What was the point?
And
What's it gonna, I mean, that's what I'd want to know.
And I'd love to facilitate conversations, and I think sometimes I'm trying to make it very introductory,
Right.
very friendly, just like conversational, because I think that like if any of our sustainability staff or any of you were approached by someone it's like, so what is this sustainability plan? I think it's to have that conversational aspect to it and just make it like very low key. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Minimally,
Yes.
I see you welcoming people and at least giving, you know how with the Board of Commissioners presentation, perhaps something along that, it was only a 10-minute presentation, but at least it kind of gave a little historical background. So people may be just hearing about this for the first time. So I would, I imagine just saying, welcoming everybody, thanking everybody for their attendance and their interest in sustainability, and kind of giving them a little bit of, just a little bit of the history behind the formation of the committee and what the goal was, and how we've arrived at this moment where we're launching the sustainability plan, and thank you for coming for the celebration. I mean, I have been to events before where there was no facilitation and people are awkward,
And that's not the purpose here.
minimally. They're just like, okay, well, they're.
And that kind
So
of
you
comes
want to kind of get them
and that kind of comes back on
lubricated,
us when
some
people
social lubricate,
Yes.
without drinks.
when people come. Yes, there will be mocktails, I think. So, but
We'll spike them with CBD.
sorry, that threw me. That's kind of on like us, to engage people when they come in the door and just say, hey, welcome, thank you for coming, kind of deal. But I don't think that we're going to get attendance for 2 straight hours. So not everyone is going to be there at 5 to
Oh,
hear
you're
that kind
saying
of
it's
presentation.
more of an open house?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Open house.
Well, from 5 to 7, where people could come and go?
I still think there's value in like what Denise was proposing, welcoming people, having like a really brief overview with some slides of like what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish. I'd also think it would be really helpful to have like a sign in where we can capture people's information.
We do have that we're going to do giveaways and that sort of thing, and incentivize maybe some sign up to get to add people to our email list so that they're aware and they get the email blasts and that sort of thing. So yeah, that is a plan too.
Awesome. And then also maybe some, and I think we're going to go through this on the next item, but some events where people can like get plugged in, like if they want to do the beach cleanup or they, you know what I mean? They can start thinking about how they, and that could be part of like one of the conversations that we have with people, or, like, what are you interested in? And here are some opportunities to get
For
plugged in,
involvement,
Mhm.
yeah.
to try to
That's-
get people interested.
Yes.
And potentially even talk about, the application process
Yeah,
for serving
serving
on
on the
the
board.
board.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Bring on the committee.
Yeah, not board.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was going to go back and make my previous comment because I kind of paused because we went down
Right.
a different rabbit hole. But in terms of invitations, I think it might be helpful if we encourage Karen Lemons to invite her network of business in the business community and try to get some businesses engaged with our work. And then also like the merchants associations and invite them, because we do want that economic piece to, to be highlighted as well.
I think that's an excellent idea.
We did have that we were going to have on the sign-in sheet that to be able to indicate whether or not you own a business in Tarpon Springs and that sort of thing, so that like moving forward, we can identify those people specifically for feedback and that sort of thing. That was something that we already had discussed, but adding the invitations to like, the chamber or whatnot would be a great idea.
Great.
So what I hear, and what I would like, is it to be a little more structured, so it isn't just, and to have, things there, maybe in the initial PowerPoint. What are the things I can do, when I'm in the audience? That's what I want to know. What can I do? How do I get involved? Not, and specifics. And for businesses specifically, what can they do? How can, are there services they can sign up for? So the more we can give people, because they're coming to this meeting and it's or this whatever celebration, and that's where they want to get the information. They don't want to have to come back or email or whatever. They want it there. So this can be a really rich event. But I think it needs to be a little more structured.
Okay, yeah, I think just to synthesize, so you'd like us to focus on potentially doing a bit of like a hybrid open house, but with a little bit of a program, so that there's some programming, but people can also come and go and not feel obligated to be. We do want to create Jordan very smartly, I think, want to create a framework where if people want to drop in for 25 minutes, 30, 40 minutes, and learn a little bit about the system, something, and go back to their lives and their family, like that's accessible as well.
Yeah.
We've had good success with some other city events like that we do every year, like Touch a Truck and stuff like that, where it is more of an open house. Type of format. Come in, learn about city services, see what the fire department does, see what the police do, learn about utilities, learn about planning and zoning or economic development. So I think we can incorporate some elements of that and also have a couple of things that are a little bit more active where we're, providing a little bit of education too.
If we're all able to be there, and if we're able to invite the former members, it would be great if we could be just thinking along the lines of being hosts of the event as well as the city, so that we're able to welcome people and walk over. I mean, I certainly feel comfortable with that. That's how I spend my entire day, is just in conversations, trying to make people feel comfortable. And I think that maybe if we each had a stack of the books, we could be handing them to people, or and asking if they have any questions, if they want to, if they're going to be coming in later, that would be a little bit.
Sure. So I see two main goals, one being outreach for future involvement and one being education about city initiatives.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we can achieve that.
And that basic summary, so that, you get this big book, you want a basic, clear, simple summary and a PowerPoint, like Denise says, too.
Oh, I don't know whether there will be an opportunity for a PowerPoint, but I do see that we can just at least tell people what, the whole the principles of sustainability, and thank them for coming. And I'm sorry, we overloaded you.
Oh, no, you're fine. We're here to take your direction.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just that we've gone to these events and we sort of know what works for us and what doesn't as audience members.
Just as a participant.
Yeah. And what doesn't work is when you go and you go, why did I come? We don't want people to ask that question when they leave.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think we've got a good goal. We've got direction, welcome folks, create engagement for future events, get some simplified education system for the, or educational materials for the sustainability plan, and create a framework to re-engage people in the future for future sustainability and community events as well.
And is there something we can give? Did you say, Jordan, you were going to give us something away?
Yeah, we have water conservation kits that we're planning on giving away and making available to everyone, kind of like as a thank you for filling
Yeah,
out the
that's great.
attendance sheet.
Okay.
Right.
We are on item number 4, presentation to the BOC. Have you confirmed whether that's happening next month or
So
not?
you all have the, Tommy handed out the resolution about the reports. So the timeline is, the report needs to be completed by March 27th at noon. So for the committee to review it, the final draft needs to be ready for the meeting on the 21st that we have. And then the final draft after that needs to be ready by the 27th for the BOC meeting on the 2nd.
For the BOC meeting on April?
April
2nd?
2nd, yes.
Yeah, we had some discussions with the city clerk about scheduling board items and also the schedule for this committee. And just with the way shifting the board meetings to first and third, it created a little bit of a conflict with having y'all have the opportunity to review your presentation, your report, and do an approval. So the guidance from the city clerk's office was to go ahead and schedule it for the April 2nd. And that'll give y'all an opportunity to, Denise, an opportunity most likely to work with Jordan, create a short update, and provide that to the board with, plenty of notice, and also the committee having the opportunity to review the report.
Okay.
And is that something Denise is doing, like she's done before?
I have not done this before, so I don't have an answer for that.
The typically, Denise, you did this last year,
I
right?
did it last year, but I think didn't Robin do it one year, the year before, or did you do
No,
the
Robin
presentation?
did do it one year.
I did it in 2023.
I did the presentation a couple of years, I don't remember.
But Robin did one presentation.
Well,
I remember.
the sustainability coordinator does bring regular updates to the BOC that isn't necessarily the same update from
As
the
the
Sustainability
committee.
Advisory Committee, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a report from the committee on behalf of the committee to the board. And the goal is to detail accomplishments, provide other information requested by the board. I don't think they've requested anything of us in a little while. The last time they requested us was to develop a plan. We're working on it. And they can also make recommendations for like future goals and things like that. So the way I believe this was structured last year was that Denise, the chair, can work with Jordan over the next month to put together a short presentation, something 5-10 minutes to provide the board an opportunity to say, hey, this is what we've worked on. I'm presuming the main update will be that we've adopted this plan. We're very excited about adopting the plan, and we want to encourage folks to get involved. This is the path forward for the city. And then we would bring that draft report or presentation back to the committee in the March meeting of the Sustainability Committee. The committee would say, this is what we would like to present to the board. And then Denise would attend the April 2nd board meeting with Jordan, and Denise would provide the update as the chair on behalf of the committee.
What time are the meetings? Do you know?
6:30.
6:30.
6:30,
Thank you.
and we'll be there to support her.
And I can share like my previous presentations. I think I shared it with you last year, but
Yeah.
if you'd like to see it too, Jordan, just
absolutely.
so you
I would
can see what
appreciate
we
that.
included. Okay.
Yeah.
And Denise did a great job last year.
Well, thanks. I
You
don't
really did.
remember it at all.
You did.
No, I felt the good energy. We were worried initially that there might be some feedback that was maybe not positive, but it turned out that it was, everyone completely embraced what we were doing, and the feedback was awesome.
It's
So,
very similar feedback to what we've gotten when we've spoken to the board, so.
Yeah, I think there's no having to prove the need anymore.
Correct. I agree.
Right, it's part of the city plan.
Yeah. So yeah, that's.
So we're mainly looking at accomplishments. So if there have been, if you know what action plans were tackled last year,
There were no action items.
there were no action items that were addressed at all.
Because the plan action item started fiscal year '24.
Yeah, we tend to think of the year starting in October 1, so the big item from last fiscal year would have been the implementation of the plan, and we've had some other materials that we provided recent board updates on a variety of things in the Public Services Department, including sustainability, so we can provide those as well to give you and Jordan a jumping off point about what you want to talk about.
Okay, sounds good. So items for our next agenda. I think that's part of it, is just what we're presenting to the BOC. You know, what we come up with in our discussions. If you have anything to add, please send them through Jordan. Thank you.
We do have the comp plan update scheduled from P&Z for the March meeting as well.
Speaking with planning and zoning, I imagine those two items will take the majority of the meeting.
Okay.
And maybe just update about the Earth Day event.
Yes.
Thanks. I don't know where this is in today's agenda, but that we got in the backup the events that are coming up.
That was just requested by you all, so we just included it as like we needed to communicate that with you all about the city events. So I literally copied and pasted that from the city website. All of the city events that are ongoing this year that are on the schedule.
Okay. Are we gonna have a conversation at some point about engaging with those, or?
I know we have EcoFest on the agenda. That's the next thing after the Earth Day event.
I think we could do that as maybe not, March I think is gonna, with the comp plan and scheduling all the stuff for Earth Day, that will keep us pretty busy. But I think that would be a good future agenda item, would be to, if there's particular events that the committee is interested in, let us know, and we can schedule updates on those in maybe April, May, June, or something like that as we get closer.
Sounds good. Yeah, the beach cleanup is coming soon. Saturday, March 2nd is the first one. But I guess the next one is in May. We can talk about that.
So at the beach cleanup, how many people typically attend, and how much is there to pick up?
I didn't even know we did a beach cleanup until today.
Have we done one in the past?
Yeah, and I think that there were pictures of the tent or a table that Robin had set up.
Yeah, the attendance varies a little bit. It's their weekend events, so 10, 20, 30 people sometimes. If you're interested in the beach cleanups, we could provide you an update on the beach cleanups.
Well, when I saw it, I thought, oh, I'll go. And then I thought, well, maybe lots of people go and there's not much to pick up. I mean, I'd like to know that to see if, and why is it just at Sunset Beach and not at the other places?
That, I think, is because it's Keep Pinellas Beautiful cleanup event, and I think they focus on public spaces and that sort of thing. So I think the beaches are pretty prevalent for them.
Yeah, and Sunset Beach is a city park, and Howard Park is a county park, so try and focus on city parks.
I see. But is there a lot of trash around?
I don't think we have a super problem with litter, but there's always stuff to be picked up. You know, we have good parks folks, and they have trash
Right,
cans and things like
right.
that out there, but not everyone follows the rules all the time.
Okay. We have no public here, sadly. But, staff comments? Do you have
Yeah, sorry.
anything to share?
Yeah, so we are wrapping up intern interviews tomorrow, so hopefully we'll have something. I was hoping to have an update for that this meeting, but that's the way the hiring process goes. So hopefully next meeting for you all, we'll have someone to introduce to you. And then I will be at Touch a Truck on the 24th. We'll have a small booth with water conservation kits, and we'll capture data and that sort of thing as far as email lists and that sort of thing, so.
I just wanted to, further reiterate that, we're, water's near and dear to my heart. We do, even though we've had a little bit of rain, we're doing a little bit better, but we still do have a 12-month rainfall deficit. It's a little bit droughty over the long period, so anyone you talk to, please continue to encourage them to conserve their water resources and check their watering days and things like that.
How do you deal with people that live out of state that have automatic watering? I mean, that's the lady right across the street from me, and she's got her lawn on autopilot. And I'm sure she pays the bills, but she is probably a person that doesn't even think about how it's increased at a certain point.
Lots of customer engagement. That is the answer. We have that's a common question, and we've got some resources for that. Like here's what you do, and not everyone programs their thing, and if they're not someone who's got the know-how to program their irrigation controller, they tend to be much more simple nowadays. But you can always get in touch with an irrigation professional, and they'll help you go through your system and get everything up to date.
Okay. Any committee comments? Dory, please.
I just want to invite everybody to the Dunedin Hope Spot Festival on Saturday. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what the Hope Spot is, but they're like ecologically sensitive places in the ocean that Dr. Sylvia Earle had really worked to get designated the Gulf Coast Hope Spot. So they do a festival in Dunedin that's sustainable, and they have like ocean exhibits and animals.
And what's it called?
It's the Hope Spot Festival in Dunedin, and I'm going to be doing ride and drives in the electric vehicle. Hopefully it will not be raining, but it might be.
Oh, yeah, it might
But
be.
we're happy if it rains.
True, but at any rate,
Come with umbrellas. Actually, I wish I could be there, but I usually work on Saturdays.
well, if anybody in the
I-
community wants
yes,
to
I will let
join,
people
it's at the
know.
Dunedin Marina Saturday
yeah.
from 9 to 3, I think.
10 to 5.
They do a beach cleanup at 9 a.m. and then,
It says
keeps
10
going.
to 5. Is there a
And I can send a
website?
link to
Yeah,
Jordan.
and I can share it with everybody, absolutely.
I have it, I'm looking.
And the only thing that I have to share is that I know I made a comment earlier that was seemed a little out of context, but the more I listen to, read the cornerstones of partnerism, I feel that it's kind of beyond what the city is doing, obviously, but I think if if we're really looking at sustainability as something that is going to be an umbrella over the planet, we have to find every opportunity to connect networks. And I'm going to send the partnerism link.
And I can share it with everybody. Yep,
Yeah, I'm gonna-
absolutely.
I'm going to send it to Jordan, and she can share it with everybody. I have been listening to a lot of interviews with Rianne Eisler, because she came up in my mind. I mean, was introduced to her many, many years ago and went to see her speak in Seattle, and then I know that she played a huge part in influencing David Korten, who spoke at Teach-Ins prior to the WTO summit that happened in Seattle. I mean, I know some people know about the World Trade Organization thing that happened in Seattle, became rather infamous and misrepresented a lot of the people that opposed it. But I was there, and in the teach-ins, David Korten had just written a book in '95, I think, When Corporations Rule the World. And it's been just a devastating reality, you know, and how money has played, you know, just the profit-driven extraction of the planet has played such a devastating role in undermining sustainability, undermining families. You know, it's undermining the structure that actually keeps us afloat and keeps us healthy. So I just kind of revisited this recently after listening to a couple of interviews, and I feel like, oh, she's got some excellent points. The more conscious we are of them, the more we can be spreading the consciousness of sustainability beyond just city. I mean, it's important that what we're doing here is just city, but that we're making networks to, you know, in conversation and raising the awareness of all people that participate in planet Earth's health. Because unless everybody is participating, I think it's somewhat of a lost cause. And I hate to say that, but it feels like it's really the 11th hour, even beyond that.
I'd
So
like to say
I'll
one
seal
thing.
link. Sure.
So, as you know, I'm concerned about this flooding of our streets. And so this morning, yet again, one of our neighbors is selling their house and leaving Tarpon because of this, because of the flooding and the storms. And so I just want to urge the city to really figure this out, because we're, you know, more and more people are moving. Whether they can sell their homes, I don't know. But I certainly, my husband and I certainly have considered it, because there's just, you know, we're going to be stranded in our house because we can't drive through all the water. So, I mean, this, to me, has to become more and more a priority. And I know that there's issues at the docks and it's being addressed, but it's a very difficult issue. And I don't know what you can, you know, raise the city or whatever, but
I think we'll have a lot more information and be able to formulate a path moving forward when we get the results of our vulnerability and resiliency
great.
plan. I think that it has, you know, we have to be very conscious and make an educated and informed decision on how to move forward. So I think with those results and that, the data that we'll get from that, I think we'll be able to really make moves moving forward if needed.
Yeah.
That are needed. That's not an if, that's a definite,
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
needed.
we have no choice.
Well, and good news, they've started working on Gross and Cypress. There was a plot that was a flood retention pond that went through a lot of legal hassles, and they're finally working on it again. And there's
Working on it, doing what?
well, it was a property that was torn up. It's a flood retention pond to help when there's an overflow. you know, there was
Right.
so those are projects that are
So
being
they're
worked
making a
on.
bigger retention pond?
No, it was in a legal limbo for a while, and now the work has started on it again, so that's
To make a
a
retention
solution.
pond?
Yeah, they're in the process of doing that.
It's broader than that. It's a larger, flood abatement project.
Well, that's good.
That's
Thank you.
7:06.
That's good news.
Yes, that is good news in relation to what you were bringing up. So
just-
maybe they're going to happen more
It's
frequently.
just that even the county was saying they're draining it. And I said, well, where are you draining it into? They said, well, the bayou. And I said, well, it floods down there. The bayou comes up over the street, so where are you gonna put the water?
Okay, any more staff comments? Any more committee comments? If we have no more committee comments, do we
I
have a
will make a
motion?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I sent you the calendar.